Hello and welcome to Short Takes Extended. I'm Dan Robinson here with Roger and Dan, the hosts and producers of One Worldview. Welcome, fellows.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you being here. One Worldview has celebrated its 500th show on Fayetteville Public Access Television. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That is quite an accomplishment. I know that for many people, producing one show is quite the challenge. It's hard to imagine, 500 shows. How many years have you guys been doing it now?
22.
22
Yes.
years. And what started the show, One Worldview?
Well, it was one of those fortunate things where we got invited to be guests on somebody else's show. Should we say his name or?
Yeah, no, we don't want to.
Okay, he paid us to not say his name.
Yeah.
And so we had a couple of really great shows. We were doing a live call-in. And then we got invited to a third show by another producer and host who got unavoidably detained and was 10 minutes late to a show. Well, in the first 60 seconds before the show, the director came in and said, "Hey, look, we're on the air in 60 seconds. What do you want to do?" And I said, "We'll put us on the air." And so we just bantered and chatted. And when the host came in, we interviewed him about what it's like to have your own show. And they came to us and said, "Well, you now have your own show." And so we've been doing it ever since. And that was September of '92.
That's amazing. And now here I sit interviewing you about having your own show.
We never imagined that it would go on for so long. It was not intentional.
Right.
We just kind of started doing it, and I have to admit, we might be addicted to making a TV show.
Well, you know, 500 episodes in, I figure.
That does sound like serious addiction.
So where did the concept of One Worldview come from?
Well, around my kitchen table. We used to sit around the kitchen table years ago, and we'd look at newspaper articles and laugh about the silly stuff that was going on and shake our heads and, wow, would you look at that? And so when we were asked to do a TV show, we thought, well, what can we do? And we'll just bring that process to the camera and share it with the rest of the world. And so the idea of Whirled, W-H-I-R-L-E-D, was you take it and you look at it from all sides.
Yeah.
And we both long been doing yoga and spend a lot of time standing on our heads, so it's not hard to turn things upside down and look at them. So.
Well, as a big fan of the double entendre, I've always gotten a kick out of the title.
Oh, thank you.
I think it's very cool. But then also there's the dynamic of you guys inventing words.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of an afterthought.
So talk to us about that. What brought that on?
Well, we actually spent a lot of time with dictionaries. In the days even before we started doing television, I had a column in a local newspaper called the Dictionary of Democracy, and I was discovering the origins of words and defining them with contemporary kinds of definitions. And it was easy to make up new words by knowing the origins of words, because you can basically, if you know a good set of real words and some suffixes and prefixes, you can just make up words all day long. It's really quite fun to do.
It's very interesting to look at the origin of words, and sometimes the meaning is total opposite of what it's become in our modern usage. So that was always kind of an eye-opener. And it also gives you insight into maybe the original thought behind the word and how it's changed over time. So we like to go in there and play with that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And geez, maybe we're creating the lexicon of the future.
I imagine you are. I think people, you know, the aliens are going to find the tapes, and they're going to be like, these people have the craziest language
That's right.
we have ever seen.
And if they were all like these folks, no wonder they're not here anymore. No wonder they're extinct.
So what has been one of the greatest challenges of producing a show over 20 years, 500 episodes? What would you say is the hardest part?
Oh, dodging all the politics. Around the station, there's been a lot of changes over time, and we've both been on the board at one time or another, and through different managers and different little tempests in a teapot that would occur around here, and also with the city and the city coming under pressures to not have a public access station where people can speak their mind. So we've managed to just sort of work our way around all that and keep making shows.
That's amazing. I was going to ask you, with your 20-year perspective, how you guys feel about the evolution of public access over the last 20 years.
You want to answer that, or you want me to?
You go ahead. I'm going to think about it.
It's been really great. I mean, particularly as we've seen the changes in just recently with the upgrading of the equipment. I mean, I remember days we'd come in here, one microphone would work, or one camera would work, and so we'd have to make a show very limited. But yeah, the whole resetting of the studio, the professionalism of the equipment, and the only thing that bothers me is that more people aren't using this facility. And it's free now, which is when we started, we had to pay money.
Right.
Can we get reimbursed on that, by the way?
We'll look
No,
into
I'm just
that for
kidding. But I mean, there needs to be some kind of public outreach where people, and I share it with a lot of people. I got you a little brochure and I pass them out. People just don't know, it seems like.
Yeah.
And it would be really nice to see this used a lot more.
Yeah,
So,
I do have an answer for that question.
All right.
Yeah, managers and producers and equipment comes and goes. One worldview remains.
there you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That has definitely been the case over
Yeah.
the 20 years.
Yeah.
Sort of like a bad case of prickly heat.
Yeah.
So then moving into the future, what do you feel like will keep public access viable? What do you feel like the future of public access could be?
If more people were to use it, it certainly would help.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a great facility, and everyone here is so knowledgeable and friendly and is willing to help anyone come in and make their own show. We often get asked, hey, can I have a chance to be a guest on your show? I said, well, why? And they say, well, I got this agenda, or I got this idea, or whatever. And I just tell them, go down there and get your own show.
Yeah, they say, why don't you talk about this and this? I say, well, you need to get your own show and go do that.
Yeah.
So we encourage others to do that.
Yeah. See, there's a lot of people that give voice to the First Amendment. Oh, the First Amendment rights and stuff. Well, here's the opportunity to actually come down and exercise your First Amendment rights.
That's
Right.
true.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what your position is. You're free to express it. So if we
Yeah.
can do it, anybody can.
And
Yeah.
do you guys feel like that's a valuable resource for the city to offer?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it made us what we are.
Famous.
Well, not quite,
famous.
not quite, but we're working on it. Yeah.
We have world
World.
spelled W-H-I-R-L.
World
yeah,
famous.
Yeah,
That's
we,
right.
we like to think that they're starting to watch us out there in the stars
In
now.
the
you know.
cosmos, yeah.
Yeah, that's what's keeping them away. We don't want to contact these people yet.
So if you guys could say something to future producers, what would you advise the next set of fellows that want to create a show for 20 years? Do you have any words of wisdom for them?
Just start doing it. Just do it. And you know, it's not, to us it doesn't seem hard. Maybe it's because we've been doing it so long now, we've had a lot of practice. What amazes us is we just don't get a whole lot better, so with all the practice.
Yeah.
But we're going to keep practicing, and so keep
Yeah.
watching, and someday we might be pretty good.
Yeah, well, you know, doctors and lawyers have to practice, and so we continue to practice as well. To those future producers, don't try to do all your material on your first couple of 3 shows. Is make up stuff and present your serious stuff or your seriously funny stuff a little at a time, and so you can extend the number of shows that you do, and that's very rewarding for us. There's like Will Rogers said, as long as Congress is in session, there's plenty to write about. We find that there's an amazing amount of material out there just in the regular news, but we also read things that are not in the common mass media. And so finding a little source of information that's unusual, a publication, a magazine, a book, we bring that to television. So what we do is not watch TV, but read so that we can find old information and new information to bring to television.
There's infinite possibilities out there, and we're fortunate. We're just tapping into this thing which is constantly renewing and presenting itself, which is like the dynamics of life in the world. We barely scratch the surface of what we're doing. So it's infinitely possible for anybody that has any kind of notion to do it. Do it.
Yeah,
That's what I would say.
We realized that if we had sponsorship and lots of money and babes, that we would make a show every day.
Well, yeah, we've joked about there's so much information. I actually have to discard articles because I can't get it all in.
Right.
We could actually make 2 or 3 shows a week and not cover everything that we would like to cover. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have shout outs to anyone who has helped you over the years? Or I know that you guys have a director.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Miss
We
Jory.
we wouldn't do it as well as we do it without Jory Costello.
Yeah.
And she's been working with us for a couple of 3 years, and we've had a number of different directors, and over the years.
We've helped train a few directors.
Yeah.
We've let them cut their teeth making
Yeah.
our show, and we
Nice.
told them, well, you
Yeah.
can do no wrong, so just let her rip, and we'll do the best with it. So,
So anybody else that has had
well,
a big impact
Richard
on the
Drake,
show?
Richard Drake was probably the one who really got us going on it, and he was one of our first directors, and we owe a lot to him. So,
Yeah, he wrote some really funny stuff for credits too. And he had the free reign to write whatever he wanted to at the beginning and the end of the show, and some of his stuff is really hilariously funny.
yeah. Sorry, Richard, I know you paid us not to mention your name, but,
Yeah, but
we,
hey.
we'll give the money back.
Yeah. And there's been a couple of curious incidents over the years where one time we had a short-term director, and bless his heart, he forgot to hit the record button on the tape deck. And
Yeah.
back then it was VHS. And so we rehearsed the show.
We had to redo it. Well, and we told him beforehand, no problem, you can't make a mistake. Well, that was the one mistake.
Turned out
you
there
could
was
make,
one.
is not
Yeah.
start to record it. So,
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So
we
otherwise-
laughed.
Yeah, we laughed about that one. And there's John and Colleen, and they
Yes,
were
yes.
directors for a while, and there's a guy named Adam and Alan, so I'm thinking of. And somebody that used to be here that I miss was
Leo.
Leo.
Yes, yeah.
Leo was cool.
Who I think is now working in professional TV.
Yeah, I saw him earlier this year.
Yeah. So there's been many people that has touched our show, and
Yeah.
yeah, we feel touched.
Well, we certainly have touched them too, you know.
Yeah, that's why we look like we're touched.
Yeah, they haven't been the same since, you know. But no apologies, guys, because there's probably some reason for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's just a lot of fun to do it.
Yeah.
And that's why we can do it for 22 years, just because we're having a good time with it.
Yeah.
And that's really the secret. Have fun,
Yeah.
like with most of life.
Well, it's really amazing, and we at Public Access really
Yeah.
appreciate you guys' commitment and what you bring to the station.
Thank you.
It's a lot of fun. When I talk to people and I talk to them about Fayetteville Public Access Television, they say, "Oh, isn't that show with the guy in the hat and the globe that's drifting around?" So, I mean, it is definitely a pillar of the community, and we really appreciate
you.
all of the work that you guys have put in.
Thank
The
you.
500th episode will be available to see on our VOD catalog on live stream. And then we are just very happy to have One World View here at Fayetteville Public Access Television.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you,
Great
Dan.
name, by the way.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
too.
yeah. It's been a pleasure.
This is Dan and Roger from One World View, and you're watching Short Takes Extended here on Fayetteville Public Access Television.
Y'all come back, because we will.
Thank you.